Here we are in the cave by the furnace. We've come through the main railroad room, and there's quite an extensive helix here, and as John described earlier, there's a number of tracks that come off of it. However, it does really increase the operating potential of the railroad. Maybe you can explain a little bit about what's going on here.
I don't know if you can get that one. Typically the helix is a double track main.
Yeah.
And unidirectional. So if you're going up, you're going on one track, and if you're going down, you're on the other track. So with the amount of traffic, I just couldn't have, this is 100 feet of track in here.
Right.
So you just couldn't have a single track doing it.
Uh-huh.
So these are the main, this is the track from Leamington.
This turnout I see on the outside here is the switch you were talking about that goes into Leamington, eh?
Yes. And this gives access to both sides of the Y.
Right.
And
so this is at the Heinz Pickle facility where you have that Y on the other side.
Yes.
So this track is that independent track that you showed where the first light was, and it comes around to that.
This is the double track main here.
Mm-hmm. So you got quite a bit of track, 100 feet here, and it drops down at what sort of grade?
It's just over 2%.
Right.
Yeah. So I typically use 2 diesels.
Yeah.
And they can pull whatever they need to up the track.
Mm-hmm.
My passenger trains, as I said, are 10 or 11 cars.
Yeah.
The freights are usually, can be as much as 16 cars plus a pair of diesels and a caboose.
Now when you get down to the second level, there's another turnout, eh? Yeah.
This is where the CPR comes off here.
Right.
And goes essentially on its own trackage through the town of Chatham.
Yeah.
And on its way to Toronto, the Toronto Union Station.
All right, so that's a Canadian roads.
Yeah. Also in Chatham is, I mentioned earlier, Chesapeake and Ohio is active in this same area.
Yeah.
So it has a small yard there, which we'll see later.
Yeah.
And the locals coming out of Chatham go in 2 directions. One, this direction going up the helix, and they head off for Windsor.
Right.
And turn around there and then work their way back to Chatham.
Mm-hmm.
Another local comes off this way and goes down the helix.
Right.
To this switch right here at the bottom, Chris.
Okay, this one way down here. Yeah.
And then that goes into the C&O yard in St. Thomas called Talbot.
Right.
And we'll see that in a few minutes as well.
So, and the other tracks that are on the inside, where do they head to? That's these ones here.
These here?
Yeah.
These are still part of the New York Central double track main.
Okay, and that's heading...
that's heading towards
Buffalo.
Heading east to St. Thomas and then on to Buffalo.
Okay, so that's the main line, and the other one is for the C&O.
The C&O.
Quite a clever use of space here. As you can see, the helix is on the other side of the furnace, and we have this piece of track that thunders by the water tank, and this is the Canadian portion of the branch that comes off, and it's going to what town?
This is the town of the city of Chatham.
This is Chatham, Ontario.
Yeah.
We got looks like a C&O yard.
Yeah.
And a station in the back.
In the background is the CPR.
Right.
And so this part is all CPR, and it.
Okay. And there's some passenger service here and freight.
Yes. Yep. Well, there's no freight. It's all passenger.
It's all passenger
CPR
service?
is all passenger.
Right.
Chesapeake and Ohio C&O is all freight.
Ah, okay, gotcha. Okay, wow. Okay, so here we are, and here's the yard, which I guess has its own operator, does it, during the session?
Yep. Well, essentially, there's 4 locals that originate here.
Right.
So essentially, they get the paperwork for a local.
Yeah.
They come in, build their train. Get their caboose on, get the engines, and head out and do their work. And then the train comes back and terminates here, and then they do the classification of that, whatever cars are brought back.
I like the way this railroad is built in sort of sections where you have these walls that take you from one scene to the next. It allows you to sort of focus and concentrate on one area. So when the trains are leaving Chatham, do they go through the wall here on the yard?
Yes.
through here? Where are they going?
Well, they're heading this particular line by the C&O. The C&O has an east-west line for through freights.
Right.
It also has a north-south line that
Yes.
comes through Chatham,
Yeah.
and then connects up with the C&O main line, i.e.
Right.
at the Helix.
Okay.
And so this line goes from Lake Erie, a place called Rondo, which was a big coal port,
Right.
and through Chatham, and then up to Sarnia.
This spot here, after coming through the wall, you're coming into Sarnia. It's very industrial. I guess it's another spot where you can work independently and not worry about what else is happening on the railroad.
That's right, exactly. And so as you can see, this is just newly developing.
Yeah. Wow, you've got quite the scene here with the ships in the background and the big, I guess, grain facility. Is that what that is back there?
Yep.
And a yard lead, and basically the trains come in here and they terminate, and the little switcher here is taking stuff and putting it mainly on a car float, you were saying, eh?
Well, this is the car float here.
Okay.
Obviously it'll need some bench work.
Sure.
The cars, however, will be taken on and off.
Yeah.
And it's a little dark here. I'm going to have to put a light somewhere here
Sure.
so the poor guys can see what they're looking for.
For the car numbers and so on.
Yep. So essentially the cars come off here, and they've gone to port here in Michigan.
You know, you could really organize it well and get little tape things here and put what cars
Yep.
and what groups in, so that'll help people find them quickly.
Yep. This was part of the C&O secondary line across Michigan,
Right.
which went to their Lake Michigan car ferries, which are big car ferries.
Sure. Yeah.
And so it went across to Milwaukee, it went across to Kewanee, and I forget the other town. But essentially, they missed going through Chicago.
Always building something new, eh?
Yes. Oh,
That's wonderful. And this kind of brings us around to seeing
Back to
Chicago on the top,
Yep.
so you can see the whole upper level here.
Yep.
Excellent.
So before you go on,
Yeah.
I'll take these down.
Yeah. Ha!
And there's the Toronto staging.
Oh, so it goes in through the wall to the Chatham passenger station.
Exactly.
Isn't that something? Great idea. Wow. It really increases a lot of operation.